Howdy, with this video, I want to go over the schedule real quickly, then go over the sample essay for essay number one, kind of show you why I picked that essay as kind of a good example for whatever topic you're using. I'm doing this video on Friday, April 3rd. For tonight, the thesis for essay number one is due. Just want to make sure you've picked your topic, you've read your work, if it's not one you've already read, and that you're relating it to one of the movements. Just mainly a check-in. You're not going to get a lot of commentary on that unless you just go all the way off into left field. Monday, April 6th, I want to see the first three paragraphs of essay number one. Same kind of idea, just want to make sure you're on the right track. You've got your movement defined, you got good, your thesis is working out, and you're starting to get into the body of your essay. Again, mainly making sure you're on the right track. The first three paragraphs may be a little rough, but I just want to make sure you're not going way off into Never Never Land there, never to return. On Wednesday, the full draft's due, April 8th, and on Friday, April 10th, the final version of the essay will be due. Well, so moving fairly quickly on this, but not a lot of time left in the semester, right? Just about a month and a few days. Also, I'm just going to go with the class with the idea that we're going to be online for the rest of the semester. If we end up being in class together at Sullivan Central, that's good. But Northeast State's gone fully online for the rest of this semester and through the summer semester. And they're talking about what's going to happen for fall already. So I'm not anticipating we'll be back in the classroom, but I don't make that decision. I do whatever Sullivan County says. So if you get information from Sullivan County that, go ahead and forward it to me, because I may not be getting that email, right? I'm not on their email list. So if you get information, let me know. But we're just going to kind of go with the plan that this is going to be an online class for the rest of the semester. To go over the first essay, again, you can read faster than I can talk, so I'm just going to kind of summarize why this essay is working out fairly well. You want to kind of notice in the first paragraph, you're supposed to be defining your given literary movement using multiple sources. Make sure they're authoritative, reliable sources. If you're going away from .edu sites, let me know. Let me take a look at the source real quickly so I can approve that for you. And some of these, something like existentialism, you may have to get away from .edu sites. We'll have to see. And you're going to see that Morgan here kind of got away from .edu sites sometimes as well. But he does a good job of bringing together the basic ideas of the Enlightenment, and your idea is kind of to pull all these sources together and create a coherent narrative about what that movement looks like. Make sure you focus on literature. Sometimes if you get into romanticism or something, you start getting into paintings or something like that. Don't want to do that. Make sure you focus on the literature. But he goes through, you can kind of see he's pulling together the sources. Again, with MLA, if you have a page number, you want to give that. But the first word on the works cited page and the page number and citations. Using his brackets so his quotes make grammatical sense with the rest of the sentence. But he's using authoritative sources, giving a good definition, and they're developing quite a few different talking points. He may not use all these talking points in his thesis. You kind of narrow all that down to three, but you want to have quite a few good talking points within the first paragraph so we get a good sense of what the literature of that movement looks like. The second paragraph, and you kind of notice he doesn't mention which work he's going to talk about in this first paragraph. He's just defining the movement, and then in the second paragraph is when he's going to introduce the work he's going to work with, and relate that to the movement three ways. And that's what he's doing here. He's going to use common sense. This wasn't one of your options. Generally, short story titles or shorter works are in quotation marks, but Common Sense was a pamphlet published independently, so it's going to be italicized. Make sure you put in quote marks around your works. Unless you're doing Los Vendidos, which is a play that's been published independently, so that might get italicized. But the rest of the work should be in quotation marks probably. But notice he's going to do a brief introduction to Thomas Paine and Common Sense. And fairly short paragraph. This one's actually kind of on the long side. Puts a little bit of research in there, which is fine if it's quick and to the point, but I don't want a big biography of the author or anything like that. Just introduce the author, when the work was written, the name of the work, and get to your thesis here. Can't get the highlighting off. There we go. And there's the thesis. Common sense includes elements of almost every central idea of the Enlightenment, including those of logic and reason, toleration, and liberalism. Be careful throwing too many terms out that aren't defined. Something like liberalism means something maybe a little bit differently today than it did back in the 1700s. So when he gets down to that paragraph, I expect him to define what he means by liberalism before he gets going too far into that paragraph. But that's what the first two paragraphs should look like. Again, the first one defines the movement. The second one introduces the work you're going to use and relates that work to the movement in 3 ways. Then after that, just like any 5-part essay, you're going to spend a paragraph on each one of your thesis points. It's a very formulaic essay. Some students hate going back to that. Some students are like, thank God, we're back. I know what I need to do in each paragraph, and I can see what I need to do. We're going to get away from this with the next 3 essays. But the next paragraph should be about logic and reason. And you're going to see that's exactly what he talks about. He uses quotes from the primary source for support. These body paragraphs should not have any research. This should be you looking at the work and seeing the elements of that movement within the work. I should not see any outside sources other than the actual work itself being used for support. And you're going to see he's going to use long quotes. Make sure you comment on your quotes. Make sure you introduce the quotes. But more importantly, again, make sure you comment on quotes. Don't just throw a quote in there and expect me to figure out why it's there. It should support what you're saying, be in a fairly clear manner. Another long quote. You can see he's using the ellipses there to show he left something out. Could use maybe a little more commentary. If he's going to make me read this whole entire quote, I expect him to do a little more work and explain why that quote's there. But doing a good job of not just throwing a quote in and not explaining it. Then we get a paragraph on toleration, which was the second point. Threw a little bit of research in there, and that's why I kind of put that comment in there. It's like he asked me, and it's very short. I'm like, oh, all right. But generally, you don't want any additional research in there unless you really need it to clarify a particular point. Again, gives us the long quote. Again, could use maybe a little more commentary. It looks like the long quote's taking up a lot of the word count in that paragraph. But he's not. But again, he's doing a pretty decent job of explaining why that long quote's there and what's going on. Then we got to that liberalism idea, and you can see right away he defines what he means by liberalism within the context of his essay and the Enlightenment. It's just a belief in limited and self-government, and then he gets on with the paragraph. This time he's using short quotes, but doing a good job using quotes to support what he's saying, showing us where he got these ideas out of common sense, and doing a good job of explaining what's going on in terms of that common sense and enlightenment. In conclusion, don't just repeat what you've already said in the essay. I've read the essay. I know your 3 thesis points. Don't go back and repeat them because I'm like, well, why do you keep telling me that? What's the point of all this? Are we supposed to gain something out of your analysis? Or what are we supposed to gain out of your analysis? Can it be applied to our lives today? But don't do more than just summarizing your essay or repeating your thesis. Please don't do that. We should be getting away from that. You're going to see I kind of complained a little bit. He could use a little more development in his conclusion. But a good essay overall. Has a good works citus page. Everything formatted properly. It's a pretty good sample essay. You kind of see the basic outline of what I'm looking for. It does a good job of meeting all the guidelines. It's looking like a pretty good essay. If you have questions while you're working on it, be sure to let me know. But I'm going to get off here, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.